just said that. This is your fault.
My fault. You are the reason this happened.
Have you ever walked into someone's house and it felt perfect? Not just, we cleaned because guests are coming. Perfect. I mean pristine. No dishes in the sink, no shoes by the door. Every surface untouched, every pillow placed like it belongs in a magazine. And in that moment, a quiet thought slips in. Wow, did they really have their life together? But here's the uncomfortable question no one asks. What if that perfection isn't peace? Because a spotless home can mean many things. Discipline, clarity, control. But sometimes, quietly, invisibly, it can also mean something else. Anxiety, pressure, the need to hold everything together when everything inside feels like it's falling apart. We live in a culture that praises cleanliness. Order equals success. Mess equals failure. But psychology tells a more complicated story. Sometimes, the cleaner the environment, the louder the mind. Because when the outside world feels chaotic, unpredictable, overwhelming, out of reach, we instinctively turn inward. We search for something we can control, something certain, something stable. And for many people, that place is their home. So this isn't just about cleaning. It's about what we're really trying to fix when we wipe the counter for the third time, and whether that perfect space is giving us peace or just helping us hide the chaos a little longer.
I can't believe you just said that. This is your fault.
My fault. You are the reason this family is.
Now let's talk about control, because at its core, that's what this behavior is really about. Imagine a normal day. Work is overwhelming. Your inbox keeps growing. The news feels heavy. Plans fall apart. Conversations don't go the way you expected. Bit by bit, it starts to feel like life is slipping just slightly out of your hands. And then you walk through your front door. Inside, everything is different. Here, the rules are clear. The outcomes are predictable. If you clean the counter, it becomes clean. If you organize the closet, it stays organized. In a world full of uncertainty, this creates something powerful: psychological safety. Because when humans feel overwhelmed, the brain doesn't just want solutions, it wants certainty. It wants something it can control, something that responds immediately, something that makes sense. So you start small, you wipe, you sort, you rearrange. And in doing that, you create what psychologists often call a microcosm of order, a small, controlled environment inside a much larger, uncontrollable world. But for some people, this goes deeper than just a bad day. If you grew up in chaos, constant stress, unpredictability, or criticism, your brain may have learned early on that control equals safety, that order equals calm, that being put together is how you avoid conflict or even earn love. So cleaning isn't just about the present moment. It's a learned response, a quiet survival strategy. Because sometimes control isn't about perfection. It's about feeling like, for once, something in your life is finally steady. Now let's look at what's happening in the brain, because this isn't just a personality trait. It's biology. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol, the hormone that prepares you for action. Your heart rate rises, your mind speeds up, and your system fills with restless nervous energy that needs somewhere to go. And that's where cleaning comes in. Simple, repetitive actions, wiping a counter, folding clothes, vacuuming the floor, give that energy a physical outlet. The rhythm matters. The predictability matters. It pulls your attention out of anxious thoughts and anchors you in the present moment, almost like a form of active meditation. But there's another powerful force at play, dopamine. Every time you complete a small task, your brain rewards you. You clean a dirty mirror, it sparkles. You organize a drawer, it looks right. Each tiny before and after creates a quick hit of satisfaction. And during stressful moments, those small wins become incredibly addictive. Over time, this forms a loop. Stress to clean, to relief, to repeat. It feels productive, it feels soothing, and in many ways it is. But here's the deeper truth. You're not just cleaning your house, you're regulating your nervous system, one small controlled action at a time. Now we move into something deeper, because not all cleaning comes from a place of calm. Sometimes it comes from pressure. There's a difference between being organized and being driven by perfectionism. An organized person cleans to make life easier. A perfectionist cleans to avoid feeling like something is wrong. On the surface, it looks the same, but underneath, the motivation is completely different. For the perfectionist, a clean home isn't just a preference, it's a statement. If everything around me is perfect, then maybe I am too. And this is where shame quietly enters the picture. Because for many people, mess doesn't just feel inconvenient, it feels like failure. A pile of dishes isn't just dishes, it becomes evidence, proof that you're falling behind, that you're not disciplined enough, not in control enough, not good enough. So you clean, not just to reset your space, but to protect your sense of self. This often has roots that go back much further than we realize. Growing up in environments where love felt conditional, where mistakes were criticized, where being put together meant being accepted. The brain adapts. It learns that being flawless is safer than being real. And over time, that belief becomes identity. You're no longer just someone who likes a clean house. You become the person who has it together. But here's the hidden cost. When your worth becomes tied to perfection, even small imperfections start to feel unbearable. Because at that point, you're not cleaning for comfort, you're cleaning to feel like you're enough. But what happens when this need for cleanliness goes too far? At first, it feels helpful, calming, even productive. But slowly, something shifts. The cleaning stops being a choice and starts feeling like a requirement. You tell yourself, I'll relax after I finish this. But there's always something else, another surface, another adjustment, another thing that doesn't feel quite right. And if you don't fix it, the anxiety doesn't fade, it builds. This is where we begin to brush up against patterns seen in obsessive-compulsive disorder. Not everyone who loves a clean home has OCD, but the line becomes clear when the behavior is no longer about preference, but relief from distress. It's not about liking things clean. It's about needing them to be clean, just to feel okay. And over time, this can take a toll, not just internally, but relationally. A partner leaves a glass in the sink. A child drops a jacket on a chair. Small things, but they trigger big reactions because it's never just about the mess. It's about what the mess represents: loss of control, disruption, unease, and in trying to create peace through perfection, something unexpected happens. What once gave you control slowly starts controlling you.
Are you serious right now? You just put that glass right in the water. Clean up after yourself for once.
So where does that leave us? The goal isn't to stop caring about your space. It's to understand why you care and whether that care is coming from peace or pressure. Because cleanliness on its own isn't the problem. A tidy space can bring clarity, calm, even joy. But the intention behind it changes everything. So here are a few honest questions to sit with. Are you cleaning to feel better or to avoid feeling something? Can you relax even when things aren't perfect? Does your home serve you or are you serving it? Real balance doesn't mean choosing between chaos and control. It means creating a space that supports your life without demanding perfection from it. Because a home isn't meant to be a performance. It's meant to be lived in. A little mess doesn't mean failure. It means life is happening. Meals were shared, moments were lived, and maybe real peace isn't found in making everything spotless, but in knowing you're still okay, even when it's not. If this made you reflect on your own habits, let me know in the comments. Are you a stress cleaner, a perfectionist, or somewhere in between? And if you enjoy deep dives into psychology like this, don't forget to subscribe for more.